Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus, available to use online, at ATMs, or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.
Hello and welcome to the Postcast with me, Mark Story. I'm here with Nick Watts in the studio, and on the line Brian Sheeran and Tom Nugent. Hello, chaps.
Hi, guys.
More afternoon, lads.
Afternoon. Now, in the Native River fan club, you know, my membership number is 001. I just love this horse, but I was worried before Saturday about the dimension of that race, the Denman Chase. I was concerned that he wouldn't win, but he surprised me and just added to me another dimension to him as a horse. What did you make of it, Nick?
Yeah, he has added a new dimension to his game. There's no doubt about that. I remember him as a novice last season. He hit flat spots in his races. I remember around Weatherby once, and he trailed him behind Black Lion and definitely Red, I think it was. And you know, if you think 12 months on he's running like this, you wouldn't have believed it then. But yeah, he has. And the interesting thing, like you said, was I think they were kind of waiting in front. Yeah. They kind of rode him a little bit differently. They didn't kind of stretch him early on as they have been doing, just to see what he could do. You know, with a couple of horses like Bristol de May and the Mercury, see if he could put them to the sword, and he did. And yeah, I thought he showed a really good burst, and he's shown that all season. He showed it in the Welsh National. He just did it earlier that time, and so he couldn't probably sustain it to the line, and that's why Razda Murray got to as close as he did. But I suppose the detractors would say that Bristol de May didn't really show up.
You can knock the form easily, can't you?
You could knock the form, but to me, he just looks like a horse at the very top of his game. And you know, you break it down, his jumping is good, it's secure. He travels so much better. He doesn't hit those flat spots anymore, and he's added a bit of pace to his game, and there's no doubt about that. And he's my idea at this stage of the Gold Cup winner, because I think whatever gets past him is going to have to be in a hell of a race to get to the front. And out of the Tizard 3, I don't know, Colin Tizard hasn't done much wrong this season, has he? But I just wonder if that race last time out that Thistlecrack had has left a mark. It was a very, very hard race, and he'd be doing well to come back from that. So. Oh,
really? You feel that strong? I was hoping it might have improved. You might have learned from that experience at Cheltenham.
I just wonder, I mean, we don't have to go into it again, but we know it was a tough race, of course, because of what happened to Many Clouds. And you think, well, Thistlecrack went through exactly the same. He was pitching in with him all the way up the home straight and on terrible, horrible ground. And that was only, you know, probably a month after his King George win, which could have looked harder than it did at the time. And I don't know, I think just Native River has had the perfect preparation. He's had a lovely 3-runner race around Newbury. He had a bit of a break after the Welsh National. He's just ticking every box for me at the moment.
Sizing John is in your thinking?
Yeah, to a degree. You know, I think Connections are going to go for the Gold Cup now. I think they'd be silly not to. But yeah, he's proven he stays 3 miles around Leopardstown. Another 2 furlongs around Cheltenham, probably off a faster pace. Would he stay that? I don't know. I'd still. Native River stays 4 miles. We've got to remember that. So he's going to be strong at the end of that race. And Sizing John will have to cope with that and see it out just as well, if not better.
Brian, would you be going down the Gold Cup route with Sizing John if it was yours?
Yeah, well, look, I think, she's just confirmed that this morning, Jessica Harrington. It's going to be her first runner in the Gold Cup. But
is that right?
Yeah, I think so. It was actually her first runner in the Irish Gold Cup yesterday, and so it's not a bad strike rate. But look, he's been relaxing in the beginning of his races, staying on really well. The Kinloch break gave us an indication that he'd get 3 miles. He caught it very well yesterday. And look, there wasn't a great pace on in the race, but it was soft ground and be a bit better ground at Cheltenham. I think he'd be right up in the Gold Cup reckoning. He's an improver along with Native River, which I suppose we have been looking at the likes of Jackadam and Q-Card at the top of the betting market for this, and this is probably giving the race a bit of a shot in the arm. So look, I think they're deserving of their chance here. Just a word for Robbie Power. I think it was brilliant just to see him. He's had a bit of a hard time with injuries. I think he'd blurred vision at the start of the year after getting an injured cheekbone, was it? He had a bulging disc. He raced against time to get this right, and I think he knows the horse well. He's been instrumental in getting him to settle, and it's been a work in progress. I know he's won his 2 races just to get him into the Gold Cup picture, but I think they're definitely worth taking the shot. It is obviously it's a daunting task taking on Thistlecrack, Native River and all that, but he's deserving of his lineup, and 12 to 1, I think it's a fair enough price.
Is your money going on Sizing John?
Well, I haven't had a bet on the race just yet.
Okay.
Not just yet. I'll wait until the day.
If you were there, if you said to you now, what's going to win? What's going to win? If it was right now.
I was very impressed with Native River before the weekend, I just put him down as a horse who just got started off in fifth gear and finished his race in fifth gear. But he's more than one gear, I have to say, after the weekend. So, but look at, maybe it's just recency bias, but Sizing John and Native River really struck out at me. I was a big fan of Jackatham, and I think you have to draw a line through his run the last day. It came very quick after the John Durkin.
Okay.
I think they're going to get Jackatham ready for the Gold Cup, but whether he's been placing it twice, he sets the mark and all that. But if I was to have a bet, getting back to your original question, probably Native River.
Safe bet. Yeah. Tom, would you go along those lines, or do you feel differently?
I think Nick hit the nail on the head there. River, we saw kind of a different dimension to his game, and Aidan Coleman was buzzing when he came back into the ring. I was talking to somebody who was in the media scrum there for the debrief, and he was just absolutely buzzing. So he's now 4-1 from 9-2. Native River for the Gold Cup. Slightly less impressed with Sizing John as a Gold Cup prospect. I think he'd be a very, very good bet for the Ryanair. Now, fair enough. The Gold Cup is the Gold Cup, and if you have a chance, you have to take it. But I think he'd be a far more likely winner of the Ryanair than this now for me.
Yeah, much softer race from this viewpoint, I think. What about the rest of the market for the Gold Cup, Tom?
Yeah, so we're non-runner, no bet now. Thistlecrack 7-4, still the fav. Native River 4s, Jack Adams 7-1, Q Card 8s, Outlander 10s, and Sizing John was cut yesterday after the Gold Cup Irish Gold Cup win from 12s into 10s, but back out to 12s now, and it's 16-1 bar those.
Well, let's look at the other big race apart from the Betfair Hurdle with Cheltenham kind of a dimension to it, which was the victory for Altior, a very short price at Newbury. Tom, what was your view on that race, and can you give us prices?
No, he was absolutely. I don't want to use the word incredible, but I'm finding it difficult to use another word, because that display of jumping was just outstanding. So in the Arkle now, Altior is into 1-3 from 2-5, 7-2 bar. York Hill next in, top-notch 10s. It looks like it could be a bit of a walkover for Altior, and the betting without market is there as well. That's headed by York Hill at 4-5. That's non-runner, no bet. The Arkle betting without Altior 4-1. Identity Thief Charbel in there, so it's looking like you're more likely to get a bit of value in the betting without market.
Are you just going to turn up and clap Brian this one, Altior, or are you going to have a bet in this?
You want him to run against Duvan, do you? With the champion chase?
No, I don't.
No. Look, I think, look, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It's going to be another odds-on favourite winning the Arkle, I'd say. Yeah. And no, I won't be backing against him or backing him.
What did Saturday tell you?
I tell you, like, if he had beaten Dodging Bullets the distance or whatever, I would have said, we didn't really learn a lot. But Fox Norton is a decent horse, and to give him a beating, I came away thinking, like, this horse would probably give Duvan a race, and I think that says everything.
Nick?
Nothing more to add, really. He will win the Arkle if he stands up, and he's very likely to stand up, judged on Saturday's jumping performance, which was faultless. He threw in some huge leaps, didn't he? If there's one that chases him home, Charbel, I think it's around the 16-20-1 mark. I don't know, but if he runs in it, then he'd have a chance of finishing second. But it's Altior first, and the rest nowhere in this.
Ballyandy, I know Nigel Twiston-Davies was saying that it was a handicap snip and everything, but it's quite an impressive performance, wasn't it? The way he sort of scooted away after the last, I thought.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Ballyandy. He's a funny horse because he has got a lot of class, obviously, because he won the bumper last season, but these small field novice races, slightly tactical ones that he's been running in before, haven't really suited him. So I really fancied him at the weekend, in a bigger field handicap kind of thing. It's his thing. And he won it nicely, and the right horses were second and third as well. He had Move with the Times, who was improver as well in second, and Klein, who'd run so well behind the new one at Haydock. He was well back in third as well. Just be interesting to see where they go now. Obviously, he's going to go up quite a lot for that. He was off 135 at the weekend. I don't know if Nigel Twistendoes might give him a couple of handicap entries at Cheltenham.
think
They seem to suit him
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
Possibly better than these graded events. He could.
There should be a big enough field, though, in the graded events at Cheltenham to suit him, shouldn't there?
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think out loud where he
Yeah,
might go. And
yeah.
I think the Supreme might be the best or the most likely option for him at the moment. And I'll tell you something, I would much rather side with him and his proven form and the fact that he was a festival winner last year than the once raced Mellon, who I think is an awful price. So if he did go for the Supreme, I'd be very... And there was a 15-20 run of field. I think that would suit him nicely. He likes the hurdy-burdy of these big fields, and I would much rather side with him than Mellon.
Yeah, he's a safer bet, isn't he?
I think
ticks
so.
more of the boxes.
Got much more experience. He's got course experience.
Yeah.
He's a festival winner, so he's coped with all the noise and the cauldron of the festival. So he's coming into the race in great form.
Did you see Finian's Oscar win at Exeter yesterday?
Yeah, I did. Conversely, he's not a horse that's I'm hugely taken with at the moment. I think he probably. At this stage, it looks like he needs soft ground to be his best. And that Tolworth win, it was good, but Capitaine, who was his main rival, made a dreadful mistake 2 out. And I didn't think Finian's Oscar did a lot in front that day. And I didn't think he did a lot in front yesterday, to be honest. And he's come a long way in a short space of time, but I'd be looking to take him on in whichever race he goes for.
Yeah, would you be looking to take him on, Brian?
Yeah, I'd echo that. Look, it's an amazing achievement. The horse was winning a point-to-point not so long before winning his maiden hurdle and then a Grade 1. He's been impressive yesterday, or was it Saturday?
Yesterday,
it was.
yesterday.
Yeah, I just caught up on it there this morning. Like, he didn't take the eye out of your head. You wouldn't have put him down as a Grade 1 winner with the way he did it. But look, we know he has won a Grade 1 in the Tolworth. Tolworth probably wasn't the strongest Tolworth, but no, I wouldn't be taking with him just yet. I think just getting back to Ballyandy as well, I think we saw a better advert for the Supreme Novices hurdle running at Leopardstown. We'll come to him a little bit later on, I suppose. So I think neither of those will be on my Cheltenham list at the moment.
Struck straight a line through them, Nick. Tom, are you putting a line through those two as well?
Well, Nick was talking up Ballyandy there, and as a previous Cheltenham Festival winner and all that jazz, you kind of have to take a second look at Moon Racer then in the Supreme Novice Hurdle market. Of course, Betham Moon Racer got the better of Ballyandy up in Perth there earlier in the year, and in the Neptune. If I had a Neptune horse, I'd be honestly looking to, before yesterday, I would have definitely been looking to dodge Finian's Oscar. Possibly not as impressive yesterday as he had been the previous run, but I still think he's a very, very good chance now. He's 3-1 favourite for the Neptune, which is arguably short enough for a horse that's had a very hard year. But I wouldn't be too slow to take him, or too quick to take him on, rather.
What, can you just spin through your headline prices for the Neptune and the Supreme?
I can indeed. I'll start with the Supreme there. Non-runner, no bet now as well. Mellon 11-4 favourite. Charlie Park 7-2. Moon Racer 9-2. Defi de Soy 6-1. Neon Wolf 7-1, and it's 8's bar. And then in the Neptune, it's Finian's Oscar 3-1 favourite now. Non-runner, no bet. Neon Wolf is 4-1. Death Duty 5's. Messier de Zobo 7-1, and it's 8's bar.
Don't miss Tuesday's Supreme Neptune Cheltenham Anti-Post show for more on this.
Head into one of Paddy Power's retail shops where you can watch all live UK and Ireland racing every day. Or head over to Ladbrokes, Coral and Betfred where you can watch Homes Under the Hammer.
Tom, were you there at Leopardstown yesterday?
I was indeed. I was just talking to Brian there before we came on here. I'm still trying to thaw out after being up at Leopardstown today because it was the coldest day I think I've ever put in up there. Yeah. But I was there.
You were there, and what was your eye catcher of the whole day?
I thought Disco. Disco was very, very, very good. I had R. Duke as the winner of that before the race, but my word, Disco really blew him away.
He's danced into contention for the JLT. What price you got for that?
In the JLT now at the moment, it is Disco now 7-1. 7-1 now. York Hill's still the 6-4 favourite, but Disco's in there at 7s.
Brian, do you like Disco?
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Disco for a while now, and didn't back him yesterday, unfortunately. But look, I think it was kind of 2 or 3 fences from the finish. He kind of knew he was going to he was attacking each fence. I think Sean Flanagan gave him a great ride. The RSA, you'd probably have to go to JLT now with Alpha de Zobo for the RSA. I know Alpha de Zobo bled the last day and all that, but if anyone's going to get a horse to the festival in peak condition, even after bleeding, it's going to be Mouse Morris. So I think Gigginstown are going to split those two up, and Disco ran a real good race for the JLT. And just getting back to speaking to Tom before this, one of the best sights of the day was seeing Bell's Hill getting up after the last. It was just a tired fall. It wasn't probably in the camera angle, but standing in the stands, he just took a tired fall at the last, and you were thinking, oh no, here we go again. Bad luck for the Mullins camp, but thank God he got up. But if you had him for the RSA or anything at the Cheltenham Festival, it's looking touch and go now at this stage for Bell's Hill, but real good run by Disco.
Nick, Disco in your anti-post portfolio?
No, purely because I put Top Notch in there. So he's kind of number one on my list for the JLT. But yeah, I mean, if I was looking at the opposition, you'd be worried by Disco, because he did. I thought he won really, really nicely yesterday. His jumping was fantastic, and I think both him and Top Notch will put it up to York Hill, assuming that York Hill goes for this race. He's only had 2 races over fences, I think, York Hill, and both of them were to some degree non-events. So you know, it's quite easy, straightforward for him, and you know, his jumping wasn't absolutely spot on either time, so you know, he might have his work cut out. You know, Disco is a very, very fluent jumper, and he showed that yesterday. Top Notch likewise, very, very fluent jumper. He's a bit short on experience, York Hill, and we still don't know exactly where he's going to go. You know, there's all, you know, rumours could be rerouted to the Champion Hurdle, could go for the Arkle. I still think this is the most likely, but
you think,
I'd be happy to take him on, and I thought Disco was really good yesterday, and I'd scrap any idea of going for the RSA, because he seemed to be well suited by that drop back yesterday. And they can make the most of him and make the most of his jumping.
Bacardi's, what was your thoughts on Bacardi's?
I didn't really like this race at all. I didn't like the look of it before, and when Willie Mullins put 6 in, you're just wondering, it's kind of like the Aidan O'Brien approach to the Derby sometimes, when he throws 7 or 8 in and just hopes that one of them hit the jackpot. And, you know, it happened to be Bacardi's yesterday, and he won nicely, and apparently the Albert Bartlett is the way he's going to go, but, you know, he's still got death duty to beat in that, and I was impressed with West Approach when he ran at Cheltenham a few weeks ago. So I don't know, I just think it's very hard for him to interpret when one trainer runs so many horses in the same race. And, you know, there's a few bubbles burst after that as well. Satanas didn't run any kind of race.
No.
So I'm not reading too much into it, although obviously he's a good horse.
Yeah, and the Spring Juvenile Hurdle, Mega Fortune reversed form with Bapaume, and Davy Russell was very taken with the performance. What did you make of it?
Yeah, he won nicely, didn't he? And I think the change in tactics slightly suited him much better. Yeah. I was hoping Marie Deville might run a better race than she did. She was disappointing. Slightly surprised Ruby went with the other one, because I thought Marie Deville might need kind of Ruby on her back, because she was inexperienced going into the race. But Mega Fortune's got a chance. Did he have me rushing to go out and back him for Cheltenham? No, not particularly. And just one other thing I took from the day quickly. We didn't mention more of that in Sizing John's race. More of that was, I wouldn't say coming with a winning run, but I don't think he would have been far away when he fell at the last. And that's the first form he's shown in quite a long time. And he was even put in a cross-country chase at Cheltenham last month. He was in the entries for it, and they took him out. And I put a sly little tenner on him yesterday, because I thought, why are they persevering with him in these kind of races if they didn't think he was up to it? And I don't know, it's tantalising. It's hard to say he's a Gold Cup player, particularly after that, but he just showed something that thought...
He did.
He might be coming back here.
When they got that green and gold on, you never know, do you? They sometimes
sure.
suddenly come back, don't they?
Absolutely.
They do. What about just while I've got you, Nick, Exeter? The T for 2 beat Allery. Allery fell. The Bet Bright Cup's been talked about. Anything, you know, you'd take from that or anything else over the weekend?
No. Brian was talking a minute ago about it was good to see Bells Hill getting up. It was good to see Allery getting up from this. You know, that looked a terrible fall when he went. But no, T for 2 did it nicely. It's just a shame that the spring festivals in this country are both run left-handed, because he seems to love going right-handed. If there was a spring festival at Kempton, you'd be all over him. But there's not.
That's a good point. No one's really picked up on that before.
No, I mean, he might go to Punchestown. That might be the place for him. Yeah. You know, or Fairy House if there's something there, because he's obviously very good. But I think he just does need to go that way round, because the form going left-handed, right-handed, there's no comparison.
That's interesting. What about the bumper at Newbury? What do you make of that? The mare that won.
I was actually at Newbury that day.
Yeah.
I went with my 9-year-old nephew,
Yeah.
and he survived most of the day
Oh,
in
he
those
went up the
Arctic
bumper.
conditions. But he got so cold
Yeah.
that we left before the end of proceedings. We,
Yeah.
we didn't see the bumper, and I took him in the house to watch the rugby in the warm. So I didn't watch
Daphne
it.
did close, wasn't it? It was that Henderson horse that won.
It was, and he often, I think, targets a good horse with this in this bumper. So, but having not seen the race,
No,
I
you cannot
wouldn't
give
like
it.
to comment.
No, you did the right thing there, Nick. Did the right thing. Brian, going back to Leopardstown, where you were freezing as well, I presume, on Sunday. Bacardi's and Mega Fortunes. What are your views on their wins?
Yeah, top Bacardi's was good. He'd probably step up and trip. Top Bunk Off Early was many people's eye catchers, not just myself. You didn't have to be a serious judge to see that better ground and a strong pace would suit him. He's by Zebedee. You don't see many of them going over hurdles. What else? Mega Fortune, yeah, soft ground and the cheek pieces suited him. Wouldn't be surprised if Bob Home kind of turned the form with him at Cheltenham on a bit better ground.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the two you've asked me for. Two I give you.
Sure. Okay. So just looking at that meeting as a whole yesterday, and I don't like to see everything through the prism of Cheltenham, but just give us something from that meeting you think with the best chance of winning at the festival.
Oh, on the fringe, definitely. Tanked through the race, probably just lacked for a little bit of sharpness. Doesn't have to face Foxrock at Cheltenham because he doesn't qualify for the race. So I think it's going to be 3 in a row for On the Fringe in the Fox Hunters come March.
No hesitation there. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, 100% agree. He was the one I was going to call out as well. Thought he normally puts in On the Fringe. He normally puts in an absolute stinker first time out every season, but ran a lovely race yesterday against a fit as a flea Foxrock. I think the plan for Foxrock now is possibly the Irish national. But On the Fringe ran a lovely race.
All right, that's the Fox Hunters sorted. How much am I going to win on the Fringe? What prices have you got there?
Give me 1 second now, and Jack can edit out the awkward silence as I pull up the market.
I think twos. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think we actually cut him. I think he might be 7. Yeah, he's on the Fringe 7-4 now for the Fox Hunters. No bet. Wonderful Charm next in at 7-2 and at 6-1 bar.
Head into one of Paddy Power's retail shops where you can watch all live UK and Ireland racing every day. Or head over to Ladbrokes, Coral and Betfred where you can watch Homes Under the Hammer.
Well, it doesn't stop this Colin Tizard-dominated season, in Britain at least. And we've got Q-Card back in action at Ascot on Saturday over a shorter trip. Nick, what kind of test will he get on Saturday? And how you think... If I know they've said the Gold Cup, but would you still think Ryanair in your mind, or how do you see it?
No, I think the owners, the die is cast with Q-Card. They're going to have another go at the Gold Cup. I think I heard Colin Tizard talking at the weekend, and he said this was just kind of to get a bit of spring back into Q-Card, because he said that Paddy Brennan reported that he felt he's getting a bit lazy sometimes in his races. He wasn't quite sure how well he was going. So I think this will really sharpen him up, an outing over 2 mile 5. I'm not quite sure at this stage what's in against him. I haven't quite seen the field, but obviously there'd have to be a good one in there to trouble Q-Card, and hopefully it'll be a nice kind of lead into him for Cheltenham. And we all talk about Thistlecrack and Native River as Colin Tizard's big 2, but God, it's not bad having a third string like Q-Card, is it? If you could call him a third string, that's slightly derogatory to him. Yeah,
it's funny because he's been around so long, he's done so well. He's almost like the unknown sort of horse in the race in a way. You quite don't know how good he's going to be on the day at Cheltenham. Presumably if he gets through this, it turns up in the Gold Cup with Native River and Thistlecrack going at it. Where will Q-Card be in the mix?
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't write him off. I think a lot of people will do on account of his age, because I think he's an 11-year-old now, and I think you have to look back in the history books a long time to see an 11-year-old that's won at the won the Gold Cup. There'd be no more popular winner, I don't think, than Q-Card. And you couldn't write him off. If he was below par in the King George and he still managed to, he got within a couple of lengths of Thistlecrack, and arguably Kempton's not really his track, then going back left-handed at a track he loves, I don't know, you couldn't rule it out.
Couldn't rule him out.
No.
Tom, do you have prices for this one?
They've actually just come down for the 5-day decks, but I think we were about 2 to 5 for Q-Card before.
Short, really?
Yeah, short. Yeah, very short. 5 to 1 bar. I think Kyle Morlock was the next in.
So he's not going to get much of a test in your view. Brian, will he get much of a test, and will it teach us much?
No, it won't have me jumping up and down with excitement at the weekend. The one that will be exciting me is one that we probably overlooked that Jeski is back in action this weekend. I think the Red Mills hurdle. So Nick Watts will know where he stands after that.
I'm really worried about it. We should touch on this actually. It's a huge day for the Champion Hurdle and the World Hurdle markets, Stayers Hurdle markets, because Yanworth goes to Wincanton, Jeski on the same day he goes to Gowran. I think it completely, it's entirely how they win as to where they go at Cheltenham. If Yanworth struggles or gets beaten and Jeski wins comfortably, I think it's nailed on that Jeski goes to the Champion Hurdle. Yanworth gets rerouted. If Yanworth wins the Kingwell really well and Jeski maybe struggles or fails to win the Red Mills, it'll be the other way round. So it all hinges on Saturday.
With the evidence you've got at the moment, which way would you be going with them?
There's only one way I'd be going, and that's because I've backed him for the Stayers. But I'm really worried that from that point of view, that they started him off over 2 miles and they're running him over 2 miles again at the weekend. I'm pretty sure JP would go with 2 and 2 in the Champion Hurdle and the Stayers Hurdle, whichever way he perms them. But I think one thing you can be sure of is if Bouver, Dare, Yanworth and Jeski did go for the Champion Hurdle, then you could get on, you know what I mean, Harry, now for the Stayers Hurdle, because they must think he's a certainty if they were happy to go with him on his own. Yeah.
Brian, what are you expecting from Jeski at the weekend?
Well, I don't really know what's going to be taking him on, but God, he was very impressive at Navan, and just thought he got a great ride as well, filled him with confidence and just only asked him to stretch when he had to, and just to show that the engine was still there after such a long time off the track. Like, they're flesh and bone, they're not machines, but by God, I really thought that was really encouraging. So yeah, I think Champion, on that evidence, back to the Champion if he was mine, but JP knows better.
Nick's just pulled a face there. He didn't look very happy. Tom, what do you think? Which way?
If I own Jeski, I'd be absolutely bursting to run him in the Champion Hurdle. I was talking to an organiser of a Cheltenham preview night I'm doing next week, and at the moment Jesse Harrington is supposed to be on the panel, so I look forward to asking the question. So I'll let you know, Nick.
I think I'm losing the argument already, to be honest. I think I've lost it.
Right, just spinning forward, Tuesday night Grand National weights are announced. There's also a Grand National trial at the weekend. Any fancies for that, or the big race itself, Tom?
No major fancy for the trial, but I've been I think every time I've been on this podcast, I've managed to mention Uccello Conti at some stage. So he's my one for the national. I thought Empire Dirt ran a lovely race in the Gold Cup on Sunday. I wouldn't mind if he goes in the national either. Yeah,
Brian, you think the same about Empire of Dirt, don't you?
Yeah, well, he probably run the Ryanair. Also, Don Poley would have to have a good chance in the Gold Cup, and young David Mullins, assuming he keeps the ride, might be able to do a Leighton Aspel, record back-to-back Grand Nationals, be good. So the Gigginstown boys might be able to win back-to-back Nationals if they have their way. With either of those bullets, you never know.
Well, I don't know the whole field for the Grand National trial, but I know it's on the agenda for Blackline, so I'd be really interested to see how he goes because, he's fourth in the Weatherby race, the Charlie Hall, and then fifth in the Hennessy. He wasn't running badly, but probably quite not at his best, not like he was last season. So be very interested to see if he can get it back. And there's a really old Irish horse, 12-year-old called Maggio, who. If you cast your mind back to Don't Push It's Day last year, he won on the undercard. He won the 3-mile handicap chase there, and he won it really impressively. And I know they've been preserving his mark since then. They've been running him over hurdles. And age doesn't put me off in the national anymore. We've seen like Hello Bud and Oscar Time and Vix Canvas last year placed as a 13-year-old. So the fact he's 12 doesn't put me off. And I think he's any price. So I think he's probably about 50 or 66 as in the Tom, but I wouldn't put anyone off a little bet on him.
Yeah, 50-1 there. I do. He bolted up there last year. He was very, very good. So he's 50-1 there for this year's national at the moment.
You've pretty much got the Grand National trial prices there, have you?
They're down as well for the 5-day decks. I don't have them handy.
Okay, what about the big one? What are your prices for that?
Yeah, we're Don Polly now, the 14-1 favourite. Okay. The Last Samurai is next in at 16s. Then there are a few at 20s. View Leon Rouge, Carlingford Lock, Empire of Dirt, and one for Arthur. It's 25 spar.
Oh, so much to look forward to, and more to look forward to on Tuesday with our Cheltenham Postcast. Thank you very much, gents, for today.
Paddy Power stream all UK and Irish racing live on your mobile, tablet or PC. Unlike some other high street bookies, Paddy Power, you beauty!